So here we are at the machine. We've made our design in Cricut Space if you've watched the previous video. And so we are ready to actually send the design to the cutter here and have the cutter actually cut it out of the vinyl. So to start off with the Cricut Maker, you simply make sure that everything is plugged in. You'll see back here, there is two plugs, one that goes to the power and one that goes to the computer. So you plug this one in the computer, it goes to a USB into your computer, and then you plug the power cable in. Once you have the power, there's a soft touch open, and it lets the machine open up. With your machine, you have a little drawer here that allows you to store, might be off screen. You have a drawer here that allows you to store all the tools that you need. And then you have all your kind of like basic cutter things. You can put a tablet right here in this slot. You can have your other tools in here if you'd like. And then the nitty-gritty of the machine is you have your power button, you have your load button, and you have your cut button, and you have a pause button if you need to pause it for a second. Then you also have your tool loading area. And so this is where you actually load your cutters. If you see, this is a very sharp cutter. Let me make sure that focuses on it. So the cutter goes right in there. It's really easy to load in. You can't really do it wrong. It will adjust itself. This one is actually for pins if you wanted to add additional design work to your project. You can use a pin in this one to add some color and intricacy. Okay, and so we're going to go ahead and turn the machine on, and it'll kind of register itself and get woken up. Once it is ready, we're going to prepare our mat and our vinyl to go into the cutter. So this is a light grip mat. There's 3 different grips as you've seen in the PDF. So this light grip mat is fine for vinyl. You could also use standard. So you just peel off the protective film and put that to the side. You pull out your piece of vinyl and you carefully place it on the mat. If there's some bubbles or if it sticks, that's okay. Just kind of replace it. You just kind of want to line it up. I've just chopped off a piece here. Just make sure you give yourself enough of the vinyl to cut out your shape. So once you have your vinyl on your mat, you can load it into the 2 brackets right here and make sure it's kind of securely up against the feeder roll. So now that it's kind of ready to go, I'm going to press the Make It button on our design that we made. So you'll see after I pressed Make It, it'll tell me to load. So once it's ready and secure in there, I'll press the load button and the machine will go ahead and feed the mat in and then register itself. Once it's ready for cutting, the C button will blink, and so you press that and say go ahead and start cutting. As it cuts, you will have a screen that tells you what percentage it is cutting, and you just kind of wait for it to finish. Once it's done cutting, the load button will blink again, and you press it to unload your mat. And so we're actually done with the cutter now. Since it is a single cut and we're not doing multiple colors, we're actually done. So we can turn off the machine and close it up. So here we are with our cut vinyl. As you can see, when I rotate it against the light, you can see the cutting. So we're just going to remove it from the mat. Once we have it free from the mat, we can actually cut it down because we don't want to be dealing with so much extra vinyl here. So we'll just simply cut out our design. Okay, so as you see, here's our design. And now you move into the part that's called weeding. So weeding is removing all of the excess vinyl that you're not going to be using for your installation. So for these, there's some tools that people use. So this is an application tool. You will use it to smooth out any bubbles and for many different stages in the installation process. And these are your weeding tools. There's just simply sharp little tools to be able to pull the vinyl that you don't need away from the backing. So what we're going to do is you're going to simply remove what we don't need. Now make sure to look at your design and figure out what you don't need versus what you do, so you don't accidentally pull the wrong thing. So we don't need this whole piece, so we can go ahead and pull that off. That's the easiest one. Okay, and so now we simply pull away the letters. So now that we've removed and weeded our vinyl, we are ready to apply the transfer paper. So the transfer paper allows you to seamlessly pull your design off of the backing and put it on whatever you are applying this to. So you take a piece of your transfer paper, which is just clear stick of paper, and you cut it to the right size that you need. Then you remove the backing of your transfer paper. And you apply it to your vinyl. You use your application tool to push out any bubbles to make sure you get a good, clean seal on your vinyl. So now you are ready to install. You can take this with you and travel it with you if you need to go somewhere to install it someplace else, or if you're ready to just go ahead and install it on your object, you can simply do that now. I'm going to be installing it on a little hanging frame thing that I've painted gold. So once I'm ready to install, you make sure your surface is clean and dry, and then you can give this a few more once overs to make sure the seal is good. And then you simply peel your backing off, being careful not to remove any of the vinyl with it. If it starts to come off, just simply push it back down and see how it's starting to come off right there. Push it back down and you use your application tool and get it good and sealed. See how they're coming off right there? So you do it again. Then you go over it a few times with your application tool until they're well stuck to the backing. Sometimes you get little tiny errors and you can kind of correct them with your weeding tool. So you get the image you want. All right. So there we have our vinyl just on the clear transfer paper. So then we go ahead and place it where we want it and make sure it's straight and how we'd like it. It's generally easy to redo if it's not straight or in the center or whatever. If you're doing something that requires detail placement, of course, measure to the way you want it. So now that we have it in our little frame, we use the application tool again and go over it real well, getting out any bubbles that might have gotten trapped. All right, so now once you've gone over it really well, we simply peel the backing away from the vinyl, making sure not to remove any of our design with the backing or the transfer paper. There we go. We have now installed our vinyl where we wanted it in our nice little frame, our makerspace frame. And there you have it.